YouTube, it's your girl DeeDee. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. So I am back with another reaction video. Now this comes from a woman who says that single women progress better when they're single. So I want to get into what she had to say, and I want to definitely hear your thoughts on this one. So make sure you chime in the comments below. What's your thoughts on the idea that single women just do better by themselves? I want to hear what you have to say on that. Definitely chime in. Also, if you are new to the channel and you like the content and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It is free to subscribe, share and like the video, and hit that bell to be notified when I upload new content. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Men trying to use the word single as an insult will always be funny to me because women literally progress better when they are single. At least in my experience. Now, I know there are those people, so I'm going to say, yeah, not all women. But let's continue. For one, I am going to say a man is the easiest thing to get. I didn't say a good man, but a man is the easiest thing to get. So if we were so worried about being single, we wouldn't be single.
I would like to say, I think a man is easy to have sex with. Women can easily have sex with a man. So if she's referring to getting a man for sex, yes. Getting a man to take you seriously and want to have a healthy, stable life with you, to build a life with you and create a family and actually marry you, it's a lot difficult for modern women in this day and age. So yes, I would agree with her that getting a man for sex is easy. Yeah, because most men won't turn down sex from a woman. So that is easy. But finding a man that's going to love you unconditionally, take care of you, be with you, want to build a life with you, these modern women have a hard time getting that and keeping that because of their nature and because of their behavior and their independent boss chick status. Just wanted to point that out, but let's continue.
We wouldn't be single. My best friend tagged me in a video of this girl calling people that she never responds to, and they all answered just to tell them goodnight. Yeah, men are really easy. I don't think being single is the issue. What the real issue is just taking the emotion away from it. When you are with a man, most of your time is poured into that man. Whether it's subconsciously or on purpose, you are pouring time into a man as a woman in a relationship. That takes time away from your development, your emotional maturity, your goals, whatever you got going on. This makes me reflect back to a relationship that I was in. Anytime that I had an off day, I had to spend time with him. Anytime he had an off day, he could do whatever he wanted to do. And I hated that. I am an Aquarius at heart, so I need my space. You have to give me alone time or I will go crazy. And I have an entrepreneur mindset. I have goals. I am ambitious. I want to establish things for myself, but I'm not going to do that with a man in my face all the time. I'm not going to do that with having to wash his clothes or cater to how he feels and rubbing on his ear and his back and giving him good home cooked meal, giving him the guac 3000. I'm not going to be able to focus on myself with a man, especially being this young. So me personally, I get more benefits being single. I move ahead further in life by being single. I have yet to meet someone to match my happiness, to add to my happiness, to encourage me to establish my goals, to uplift me and speak life into me.
I will say this, and listen, to each his own. You know, I'm not mad at her. If that's what she's choosing for her life, kudos to her. You know, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious and wanting to have and create things for yourself. I think that's great. And I think what she's basically explaining from what I'm gathering is that she just wants to be single. Then there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, if you want to be single, then that's just what it is. You're not ready for a committed relationship. You're not ready to be in a stable, solid relationship, because there are a lot of women who are in marriages, in stable relationships with families, and still have careers. See, this is the thing, and I tell young women, is that you don't have to choose one or the other. It's how you choose and what you choose first. If you choose family, marriage first and build your life and a family with a man, then you have a stable, solid relationship that you've already established. And then you can always add a career or add new things that you want to do for yourself. But I think oftentimes women don't think of it like that because they're focused on what they believe is their happiness first. They're focused on accomplishing things they want to accomplish for themselves, because that's something that's been a goal of theirs, and they don't see being a wife to a husband who is an actual husband, an actual provider, an actual protector, a man who's actually in your corner there for you. They don't see that as a prize. They see themselves establishing things independently from a man as success. So when they do that, it's great if that's what you want, but I don't think a lot of young women realize that if in the future, or when they believe they're prepared or ready for a relationship with a man, a stable, steady relationship, I'm talking about marriage, they find that it's more difficult to get a husband at that point, because your mentality is so rooted in this independent, individual lifestyle that you've created for yourself. They cannot see or fathom how to incorporate a man into their lives. Because now it's not you building with a man on his program, on things that he's established for you. It's you establishing things for yourself. And now you want a man to, just come into what you've already established. And a lot of women don't realize that is difficult for men who are already stable and established. And I think once women get older and they get to a point where they're tired of chasing the bag and chasing this entrepreneurial, race, because that's what it is, eventually it gets old. When you're first starting out and you haven't had anything and you're building something for yourself, it's great. You're optimistic, you're happy about it, it's great. But a lot of women who've gotten past that great part and who are older will tell you they're tired. They're tired of the rat race. They're tired of chasing this dream. They're tired. It gets to a point where you get tired of doing it. And when it does, you want something to fall back on. Now you want a man. Now you want a stable man. Now you want a man who can take care of you fully. And a lot of times, at this point, these women already have a child or children. A lot of these women, they don't want the stability of a relationship and what it entails, but they go have children with a man. That's the part I don't understand. If you don't want that, why go make a worse scenario for yourself by having a child with a person that you don't really want to be with? So you make it more complicated, because even though you're accomplished or you're working on your accomplishments and the things that you set out for yourself, you still go ahead and create a child, typically in these cases, with a man that you're no longer with. And then when you finally get older, 30, usually around 35, 40 something, they start looking around saying, oh my God, I would love to have a husband. I would love to have this. Now I've created this life for myself. Now I don't have anybody to share it with. I've seen this 1,000 times. It's the same old playbook over and over and over and over again. All you got to do is live life and you'll see. Women get to a point to where they finally feel like, hey, I've conquered this, I've conquered that, I've established this, I've done the things that I wanted to do. Now what's missing is a man. I would love to be married. I want a man in my life to share these things with. But now your expectations of the man is super high. Now you want a man to come in, even though you're super successful, you want a man to still come in and be a 100% traditional man, take on all of the responsibilities, give you this lifestyle, and take care of you and your child. And just looking at the state of dating in this modern society, most men don't want to take on single mothers. Most men don't want these educated, independent boss chicks. Most men don't want a woman who has that mentality. So it's a decision I say women have to make. You have to decide what do you really want, and you have to decide that at a young age. Just like you can decide whether you're going to college, whether you want to, what career you want to take. You have to decide whether you want a husband and a family, or do you want to have you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to have an independent boss chick life, and you don't care about a man, you don't care about marriage or anything like that, because we know they already have kids. So you already got kids, so you already have that. So what is it that you want? Because what you want now may change later. And when you decide that you want something else, you got to understand the likelihood of you getting that, the longer you wait, is it substantially goes down. The opportunities go down as you get older, and the more educated you are. And if you already have a kid or you have kids, that takes you down even further, because your education and all this stuff that you are focused on and that you are, working towards does not make you more qualified for a higher value man. It actually makes your value go down, because that is not what these high value man or any man is looking for. So my only thing is this: hey, make your choices. Choose wisely what it is you want to do with your life. Choose what's most important to you. Because I always say, listen, you can have it all, just not all at the same time. That's how I see it. And I'm an example of that. Like I said, I have a degree. I have a bachelor's degree. Don't use it, but I have one. Chose marriage and all of that earlier in my life. Had a family. Children are all just about grown. And now I can do other things that I'm passionate about. If I wanted to start a business or do any of those things, I can, because I have the time to do it. The kids are just about all grown. So there's nothing that's stopping me from doing those things. But I was able to have able to have a husband. We built the life together. We have kids. The kids are all just about grown. And now we're still here. Thank God that we can still do things outside of, it's not just having children and raising a family, which that to me, that is one of the best things that we could have done, in my opinion. To watch kids grow and be there for your kids, be a stay-at-home mom to raise your kids. It's one of my best accomplishments, or one of our best accomplishments, in my opinion, and now we have the best of both worlds. Now we can do things outside of the kids because the kids are out of the way. So I always say you can have what you want, just not all at the same time. Choose the thing that's most pressing, that you need to focus on, and then the other things will follow. And I think a lot of women get it backwards because they go for these careers and all these things, and they don't focus on a husband and a family. And then they go through the careers, accomplish that, and by the time they're 30, 40 years old, they're still single. Now you want companionship. Now you want a certain man in your life to have this lifestyle with, and you find it a bit harder to get that the older you get. So I just think I'm not mad at young women for wanting to be entrepreneurs and all of these things, but you got to think about your future as well. And there's so many women who have chosen that path and they're still unhappy. Years later, they're still unhappy. They don't feel complete. They still, having issues of depression and confusion because they still want somebody in their lives. And they don't realize that even when you incorporate a child out of wedlock, when you go after your careers and you become super successful independently of men, it's a problem, because that's not what men are looking for. And I don't care what man you're talking about. A rich man, if that's what you want, an average man, all men are not impressed or running to an independent boss chick because they know the type of mentality that these women have. And they want no parts of it. They want more cooperative, submissive women as wives. That's just what it is. That's what it's always been. And, even though some can argue that may be difficult to find, that's still what they want. So they're opting out if they can't find what they want. The same way women are saying they're not settling, it's the same thing that men are doing. Let's continue.
Till I benefit from a relationship or progress further with a man, I'm going to stay single. It's better. And that's the life hack that men don't want you to know, is that women do progress faster being single and focusing on themselves. Because just like these women have been saying on this app, if that was such a good thing for you, being in a relationship or a marriage with a man, they would take that away from us too.
Yeah, like I said, whatever floats your boat, whatever you're happy with. But a lot of times women choose certain things and they're still not happy. The things that they thought were going to bring them all this happiness and joy, it ends up not bringing them that. Hell, Taraji P. Henson talked about this. She thought it was the career. She got the career, then she still was unhappy. She thought it was the money. You get the money, you get the fame, and you're still unhappy. She thought it was the man. It wasn't the man for her. It was a lot of things that she thought was going to make her happy once she got to that threshold. And then once she got there, she still was unhappy. This is why I say your happiness has everything to do with you. It's not about money. It's not about a career. And it's not even about a man. You have to create your own happiness. And once you're able to do that, once you're able to fulfill your happiness within yourself outside of possessions and things, then you can actually be happy with someone else. And you wouldn't have all of these conditions put on a person that you think will make you happy. See, I think a lot of women have a bunch of unrealistic expectations for men, thinking that men are going to come in and do all these things. It's going to keep you happy 24/7 and do all this and all that. But that is really not the key to happiness. And I think once you realize what fulfills you within yourself, you can be happy in any place that you are. And so I just, once again, I think you have to know what it is that you want. You have to know the consequences associated with the choices that you make as it relates to the things that you want. If you want a career, understand having a career early on and building that up, because it takes time. You may forego a husband and a family. You know what I'm saying? If you already have a child, understand that most men don't want single mothers. You got to understand that you may not get that person when you're ready. So if you're happy being single and you like your space, then kudos to you. Be happy being single, because that just might be what your future holds. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. But a lot of things are just not likely. And so, you know, and I am not the authority on what's going to happen, because I have no clue. But we've seen these things happen over and over and over again. And some things are just, you see it too much. And then there are some that break the odds, and they do something that, you know, that is outside of what we're talking about. Listen, I'm happy for you if you can get what you want. But we see a lot of people make these same mistakes over and over and over. And 9 times out of 10, it's the same results happening over and over and over again. So that's just my thoughts on this one, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload new content. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.